Welcome into another exciting episode of Just Another Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Just Another Chris. In today's episode, I sit down with Jazz and Mondo, the dynamic duo of Film Junkies. And if that name rings a bell, well, I did a short interview with them when I was in California, a little impromptu conversation, and I really wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and learn more about their process. But they create one-of-a-kind, unique Polaroid cameras. Yeah, it is so cool. And for you audio listeners right now, I am holding up one of their cameras. This is a custom camera, is Evil Emperor Zurg off of Toy Story. It's just remarkable the quality and attention to detail that they put into these things. So I really wanted to sit down and talk more about that. So without further ado, let's dive into episode 9 of Just Another Podcast. Enjoy. Whoa, what's going on, guys? How's it going?
Hey. It's going well. How you been? My name's Mondo and
I'm Jazz.
we're Film Junkies. Or as you guys know us as We Are
Film Junkies.
Do the really cool custom cameras. I have one of them right here for all those video. Yeah, all you video listeners, or watchers, you can see I'm holding up a Evil Emperor Zurg that these fine people did for me. How cool is this? This randomly showed up at my doorstep, so I really appreciate it. For those that haven't seen the original kind of impromptu interview that I did while I was in California, why don't you guys remind them what you guys do?
So I do all the vinyls, pretty much all the socials. So if you ever, DM us, or you're usually most of the time talking to me, and he does all the hard stuff.
Not really. Well, I do the paint. I take them apart and paint them, and then once everything's I usually give it some time to dry for the paint to cure, and then I assemble it back together, make sure that everything's fully functional, and make sure the flash is working, that the rollers are clean, and little details like that.
Well, I draw the mock-up, and then together we think of the character and then add the details needed.
Like you said, it's a huge team effort.
Yeah, it really is. Usually he's at work, so I'll be home making, the design, and then when he comes home, I show him, he's like, okay, I think we should do this or add this, change this, and then we kind of go from there.
And then we just work super well together.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
One of the questions that I was getting, and still kind of get randomly when you guys come up, is if you do this for a living, if it's like your main thing, but you kind of answered that already.
Oh, no, I got a regular day-to-day job.
So the question is this something that you would want to move into, like a full-time thing, or is it just a passion project?
I guess
it would be really awesome to just live off of it, but
right now it really is just a passion for both of us. We love doing it, and I think the thing that excites us the most is seeing the reaction from people when we show them the pictures of the finished product. That's really fun for us to see.
Yeah, and since you put us on the map, so thank you, Chris, for that.
Oh yeah,
you really put us on the map, man. Yeah. We're actually meeting cool people today. We actually met the Pizza Planet truck guy,
Marco.
Shout out Marco. I went to go meet him up in Huntington Beach.
Who's the Pizza Planet guy?
So Pizza Planet, from Toy Story.
Yeah.
So this guy has his he has a cool he built a Pizza Planet truck, like a real life Pizza Planet truck.
It's freaking awesome, honestly.
It's kind of like what we do, but he did it with the truck.
I've wanted to do that, actually, and track down a not one of those. Even though that would be awesome, I can see myself doing that too. But I want to get one of the Volkswagen buses from the 80s versions and turn it into the Surfer Boy Pizza. No, the Surfer Boy Pizza from Stranger Things. I really, really want to do that. I think it'd be so much fun.
We actually thought about making one of those when Stranger Things was really popular.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we never. Yeah, we just never designed it. Yeah.
Well, put me on the list for that one.
That would have been cool.
Season 5, stay tuned.
There you go.
So it was a little nerve-wracking seeing you in person. I was like, oh man, palms are sweaty.
No one needs to be afraid. If you ever see in public, come up.
A lot of people were messaging us and they're like, oh, we saw Chris's video and how can we get a camera? And we're like, oh, usually they talk to her,
That's awesome. I'm glad it's worked out and you've gotten some business from it. And that's what it's all about for me anyway. It was just like helping the community and getting some eyeballs on
really
some really
helped
cool
out.
stuff.
Like,
So
wow.
yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Is there anything that you're currently working on, or is there something that's like at the top of the list that one day you'll get to, something on your radar?
I think that's gonna kind of be like a both of us question. Sorry, our little boy just woke up. That's why she went to go put him back down.
Oh, that's okay.
Personally, I want to do would be probably like Darth Maul. I really want to do Darth Maul. Well, you know how his face is all red with all the markings on it?
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure out how to like translate that onto a camera. We usually have a whiteboard over here, and we just throw down ideas. Like whenever one pops up in the head, we're just like, "I'll write it down, write it down."
So how long does it usually take from start to finish to create one of these cameras?
If we're really like busy with orders, usually one camera can take up to like 4 days to a week.
Wow. Okay.
But I want to say maybe like at the max, 4 days for one camera.
That's pretty good.
I like to give time. I like to give the paint time to cure.
Yeah.
If you don't let the paint dry fully, you get all fingerprints and gets all. Yeah. So.
I was noticing literally just right before we started. I noticed something really cool on this that you did. That it's a super simple but ingenious idea that I've never thought of. With paint rubs, you put a piece of tape right where the fold goes, or is that just my imagination? It looks like a piece of tape.
Yeah. No, it is. So it doesn't rub off because when we first started, we're like, how do we prevent that?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
on the side?
Yeah, on the side. Like, how do we prevent from the paint, like, just scratching off when you open and close it? Because we make these cameras to be used, to be, like, shot, you know? So we're like, okay, openly, constantly, and closing it. How do we prevent that? And tape. As crazy as it sounds, it holds and it works.
It's ingenious. I never thought that. I mean, I haven't really used mine yet. I haven't fired any, but just overall, like the quality is so good. And I've been seeing you guys improve too, which I think is really cool. Because
we would definitely do.
Yeah, because like I'll be honest. Like a year or so ago, I saw some of your guys' stuff. I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea, but it's like, it's all right. It's a great idea. And then just seeing you guys go from there to now, it's like night and day, and it's so cool. Like it's
awesome.
It's awesome.
It's mostly because we care about the person that we're selling it to. We want them to be able to use it and actually display it, and and not look all scratched up.
I don't know if this is trade secret, so you don't have to say how you do this. But what do you? How are you doing these like fine detailed? It must be vinyl. Like how are you getting the lettering?
She's the perfectionist. All credit goes to her on that one.
That's mostly my OCD. It really it's really triggering if I don't get it right. So I will sometimes do like 2 or 3 copies of it just to make sure that I have the it's letters, to have extra letters. But yeah, it's very time consuming to get every little letter out of there. It's a pain in the butt.
Well, it's worth it because it's great. And I do plan, like I said, I was gonna do a video kind of talking about this specifically, just this camera, because I think like just getting the letters for the evil emperor, that's so small. Like I don't know how you do it, and it's really good. Because I mean, some people just overlook those details and then just be like, it's good enough. So it's good to hear that. I like that. Now there was a question that I had was you were out of the room. Any designs that are at like a top of your list, like a holy grail things that you wanna make one day?
That we would want to make?
Mm-hmm.
Would this be like an individual answer maybe? Like, do you have one?
I told Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, that is one that we're trying to figure out. We haven't drawn it up or anything yet, but it's
something like how I'm trying to figure out how to translate his head, his face onto a camera.
That's a good question.
You stumped us on that one.
Yeah, I don't know about like a holy grail, but for me, I really want to do an anime camera.
Okay.
So like right now at the top of my head, really Spirited Away is like really close to my heart, and that's one that I have an idea for, but I'm not sure yet because I want it to be perfect, you know. The Alien, obviously, our son loves Toy Story and the Alien, so that one is for him.
And now we got to work on hers.
Yeah.
Now, is there any you're currently working on right now?
Well, I guess we could say it. We have this. I don't know.
I say he's like a friend at this point.
Yeah.
He's really like.
And we met him through your videos.
Yeah. So,
I bet I know his name.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Brian.
Take a guess. Oh, you're.
Yeah. So he's awesome. And,
awesome dude. He comes out with like really great ideas, and we're just like, damn, that's a great idea. Like I would have never thought to have done Count Chocula. That was probably one of my favorite ones that we've done for him.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna work like on the whole.
We're doing the whole collection for him.
The whole cereal collection.
Yeah. So the next one that he wants is Frankenberry.
Yeah.
Which is the next one that we're doing.
Shout out Brian if you're listening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'll listen.
So how does the membership work?
Like, it's just Patreon. So I have like multi-tier Patreon levels. I just added 2. I haven't officially announced everything yet, but I've changed it up a little bit. But yeah. So like, there's a $1 tier, $5, and a $10. And then starting at the $10 tier, you get access to our Zoom calls that we do monthly. So everyone just kind of hangs out. And then I'll bring guests on. So I had Dave on one time where it was just, we were talking about a Game Boy instant photography, taking pictures with Game Boys and then printing them out.
With the little paper.
Yeah. And then so him and I, so basically it was like the audience could watch a live podcast essentially, but it was only for them. So then they could ask questions as we go along. And then, or it's just a topic like last time. And this actually leads into a question I was going to ask you guys anyway, so it's kind of cool. So one of the topics that we did during our Zoom call was me teaching / showing, mostly showing, how I made my last couple zines or my photo books, and so I just walked them through the process of how I did it, the services I used, tips and tricks on how I did it, like software and stuff like that, and just general ideas for like layouts and whatnot. So with that said, I was going to mention, have you guys thought about creating like your own little coffee book table with like photos of the cameras that you've created? Or is that just something that I just came up with for you right now?
Talk about making one, but it was when I was shooting 35, where I was thinking about shooting places like small businesses in where I grew up in Lomita, down the street from here. I was thinking about shooting small businesses, the outside and interior, and then seeing like how much they've grown and stuff like that. And
not for the cameras.
Yeah. Not for the camera. It's kind of a cool idea, actually.
I think it'd be really cool just to have like a book with like, once you get to a certain point, maybe you like the first 100 or something, like the first 100 designs or first 50 or something, and just pictures of the book.
We're at the 50 mark already.
There you go. And have a picture of like maybe like different angles of it or something, maybe a little text about it, and then go on to the next one. Yeah, just like something like a little coffee book.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I want 25% of your sales.
You know what? It's not even no bad.
No, I'm kidding.
We can work something out. Hey, you really helped us out. You know?
You really did.
Oh, well, hey.
There's a few people who have, sent us a message, and they're like, I don't know about the deposit. It sounds a little sketchy. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I understand. But we are trusted, and then we would like link them your video, like the interview, and be like, oh my God, I love Chris. I trust you. I'm buying a camera. Yeah.
But the only reason we ask for a deposit, we want to make sure that the person's committed.
Yeah.
And not just like we end up making the camera and then we're stuck with the camera that's like
specifically
made for that person.
Yeah, no,
so that's the reason why we do it.
That's not even a unrealistic thing or unreasonable thing to ask, because even in my field, like I'm being hired to go out to LA next week, so I'll be out there. We talked about that, but I'll be out there. Like, there's no way I would go without some sort of deposit made. Or I have a friend that does something similar to you guys, but in the animatronic puppet type world. If you've ever seen Astro, He's actually over there, but he's a puppet. But he makes that sort of stuff, and he does custom work. Boom, a deposit's made 100%. And it's non-refundable. So yeah, you don't need to justify. And then when people like try to argue that, that's when I tell people, I'm like, they're not your client, they're not your customer, they're just going to give you a headache down the line. You just stay away from them. Someone
tried to scam us, I guess, in a way, with one of the cameras that we sold, but that was through Makari.
Oh
yeah, they tried
Florida.
Yeah. Well, they tried saying that it was never received, and which was a lie because there was a photo. You know, we get the photo once they get delivered. Yeah,
once they get delivered.
So I right away made the report with Makari, and everything was fine. We still got our money, but yeah, it just sucks when that happens, you know.
Yeah, especially when you're selling on like eBay or Makari, stuff like that. Like you're opening yourself up to a broader audience, a wider audience, and or clientele, I should say. So more money, right? You get a chance for more money, more eyeballs. However, you're getting the unknown people. So like if you're working with like certain, like through Instagram, it's a little bit more personable. You know, you're working with people that are going to be a little bit more serious. But I mean, there's still going to be the rotten egg from time to time. Don't get me wrong. Been there, done that. But working through what you guys have been doing, like, it's really cool, and we get to connect with you guys more, and I like that. I like that a lot. It sounds like you haven't had too many bad instances, just a few. I mean, that's pretty good if that's the case.
Unfortunately, one of the cameras, I believe, it got delivered and it got stolen from the.
Oh, that was a custom order, yeah. So we made it, and they sent the money, and everything was fine. It was neither of our faults. It was pretty much the carrier that, well, not even the carrier, because it was delivered.
It got stolen.
Someone, from the building must have stolen it. Which,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
We remade it for him, and he loved it. He sent his thank yous, and really amazed by the work.
Those are tough situations.
It was very specific towards that person, so it wasn't.
Yeah, and the person that took it probably was just like, oh, a package, and they probably opened it and like, oh, it's a dumb Polaroid camera, and they probably try to take it to a pawn shop or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. Those are tough situations to be in, because it's like it's not either one of you guys' fault. So it's like, what do we do here? How do we make this right?
They're like, hey, I'm willing to pay the full price if you can remake it for me. And we're like, no, we're not going to charge full price. We can work something out. So we just kind of did like...
We gifted him the camera. We just kind of charged for the work.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick, I wanted to remind you guys about the members area. Yeah, there are some amazing perks by becoming a member of the Spitfire Club, such as extended versions of Just Another Podcast, and extended versions of YouTube videos, and early access to said YouTube videos, and exclusive monthly signed photos sent to your door, and access to the members exclusive Spitfire Club t-shirt. But that's not all. There is now an exclusive members only Zoom call. Yeah, we have our club meeting. We sit down, we chat, we talk about things that we're into, things that we're struggling with, things we want to improve, and special guest appearances from other like-minded content creators. Ugh, it's so much fun. If you want to become a member today, there is a link in the description below. I'll see you in there. How is the camera situation? Are you running out of cameras? Where are you getting your cameras? Or maybe we should talk about where you get them, because we want people buying them up.
Oh, the plug.
But our source, we do have someone who pretty much gets us the cameras. So we don't really go out as much and do the hunting anymore.
Nice. Well, that's good. I know my friend Caleb and Alex, they've been on the podcast and in videos. I don't know if they ever reached out to you, but I gave them their information because they're hunters for stuff all the time. They're out thrifting, they're out antique malls, garage sales, estate sale, everything. They're always finding that stuff. And so they're a good source to track down those types of cameras. So in fact, was out with them and we did some of this adventure stuff, photoing, taking pictures, hit some antique malls, and I got my holy grail. I got myself the Walkman from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
Look at that.
It looks so nice.
It's brand new.
It's in immaculate condition. Doesn't work though. It's probably the bands. It's probably the little rubber bands inside. I bought some replacements. I'm going to attempt to try and do it myself. We'll see. We'll see. I've been watching videos, but yeah, I would never have found this if it wasn't for Alex. But all that to say, they're a good source for this stuff because they go hard. They ask the questions. They don't give up. So they find some good stuff. So if you're ever looking for cameras, Caleb and Alex, they're your people.
That's the Instagram that you sent us?
Yeah, I think I just sent you Caleb's, though. I don't know if I sent Alex's.
Oh, okay. Okay, no. I think you're right.
Yeah, it was just Caleb. Alex is his girlfriend. They're pretty much glued at the hip. I've never hung out with them by them individually. So they're like next to each other all the time. So I figured I'd just send one. I used to look past these style of cameras, and I'm like, they're cool, but they're just ugly. There's better ones out there.
Yeah. We were the exact same. We were talking about that recently.
So when did you like kind of get into the instant photography like thing? I can't remember if we talked about that in the little interview we did last time.
Shot 35 and 120 like we said, and getting it developed and printed because we wanted to start like a big like photo album, like a family photo album, because growing up I had a lot of pictures. Cameras were always in my life, so I grew up with the little disposable cameras, a Polaroid camera, kind of like the same ones that we use to make our custom ones, and so
I probably don't have a single photo of when I was young. So for us, it's very important that our son had pictures of all these memories for when he's older.
Yeah. Exactly.
And when we kind of didn't have as much money to develop the film.
It was getting really expensive.
Yeah, we started thinking about getting into Polaroid.
Because you get the photo and it's like right there. It's like instant gratification. You wait a couple minutes and you have your photo right there. So I have about 30 undeveloped rolls right now, which is crazy.
No.
And it's probably going to be like upwards of $600 or more to get them all done, and I was like, yikes.
That's when we took a pause on that, and then thought about Polaroid, bought one for like $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were like, okay.
It was actually one of the giveaways that we did, and
that was
our first Polaroid camera that we bought together. Yeah. It was the X670. We had one in the background, but we turned it into a lamp.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's so cool. I was at the antique mall that I saw this early in this week. I almost bought it. It was so cool. It was an 8-track player that they turned into a lamp, but they had a couple of the cartridges like stacked up, and then the lamp was like on top of that. And then I think that it might have still worked because you could pull that 8-track in and out. I just thought it was the coolest thing. I almost pulled the trigger.
It was kind of how Film Junkies started, really. Yeah. It was during the pandemic, and we were just like...
So, like we said, we would buy cameras for ourselves, and then some of them wouldn't work. So, we're like, what do we do with them? And
couldn't fix them? Then
we turned them into lamps.
So... I guess in front of us, we have like a Mamiya that got turned into a 35mm camera, film camera, and we turned that one into a lamp.
And the 670? No, not the
Super 8.
The Super 8.
We have a Super 8 camera that I turned into a lamp too. Yeah, so that's originally how we started, just building little stuff like this, like out of junk cameras. It kind of progressed into...
Well, we were like thinking, is there... Well, he asked, he's like, hey, do you know if there's like a Scooby-Doo camera that Polaroid has made? And then we were looking it up, as most people do. You're like, I wonder if they have this camera, So we looked it up and there was no like Scooby-Doo. So we're like, Well, he's like, I wish we could just make one. And we kind of just looked at each other like, well, why don't we? Like, we should try it. That's what we do, So, yeah, I took it apart and...
Yeah, took it apart, bought some paint, just kind of matched it as close as we could to the Mystery Machine, and from there it's...
Yeah, I remember he's like, well, we should draw it up before we take the camera apart.
Yeah, before we ruin the camera. I was like, worst case scenario, we could just have it as a shelf piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, people started liking it. It started off really small and really slow, and we got. I remember our first order we got was the Oregon, yeah, the burger camera.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
like, no way, somebody wants us to make a camera for them. We got really excited, and we're like, all right, we have something, like, cool.
So when did you first like start doing the cameras? Like
Last year? Or like 2 years ago?
I think like 2 years. I think it's going on 2 years.
Yeah, it's going on 2 years now. I wake up at 4 in the morning and go to work at 5. I'm off by 1:30, get home, and we have stuff to do. We run our errands, and then just work on cameras till it's time to eat dinner, go to sleep, and then the same thing all over again. So we just try to utilize all the time that we have to do as much as we can.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are like picking up too. Getting like I had Dennis from Chromatic Parts that does camera repairs for like SX70 cameras and whatnot. I had him on and I've done some videos with him. He has and he creates his own products too. And so I really want to get people like, you know, him and you guys and anybody else out there that's like passionate and like really community driven. I want more eyeballs on that. So it's like really cool to hear like you guys are just like kind of rocket shipping. It's awesome.
Yeah. With your interview, it really helped us a lot. We had custom orders like crazy.
We got that
yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? That not like a stamp of approval, but like I guess that sense of security. Not security.
No.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I lost the word too. I know exactly.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Reputation?
People trusted us more.
Oh.
Since they saw you and they're like, oh, they know Chris. It's like, all right. It's like, so you kind of like, I guess you vouched for us. Yeah. Is what I'm trying to say.
There you go.
We got our blue check mark by you.
the just another check mark by Chris.
People are just like, oh, we saw the video.
That's like all they need to be like, I'm on board. Let's do it.
You're like, okay, we trust you.
Yeah.
At the same, we're. Oh, go ahead.
I'm saying, I'm glad I can help.
You really did help. And as far as like custom orders go, I think we had this discussion where like, if we can't make it, we won't take it because we don't want to just put.
It's not about money to us. We don't
want to put. I guess we don't want to put crap out there.
Yeah.
And so we got a few orders. We're just like, I'm sorry, we can't make it.
They're awesome ideas, but I know that I'm not capable of creating them, so I don't take the orders.
I mean, everyone has to have their limits and their boundaries for sure. But as someone that tries to be creative, I feel like, oh, I can't do that. But then once like I really like get into it, I'm like, oh, maybe I can. Maybe it's my confidence level just quite isn't there. Because I used to do video work for free for years because I wasn't confident enough to take money for it. So it's just one of those things that were about, but totally like, and I get, and as an artist, but you, in a way, what you're doing is an art, and your guys are creating this sort of thing, and you gotta set your boundaries, you gotta set the things that you're comfortable with, and things that you know that you're capable of doing and not doing. So I get that for sure, but also maybe push yourself. You never know.
Well, the camera, the one we recently rejected it was like history art.
Some like Renaissance.
Historic. It was some historic art.
Okay.
So it was something that I knew I was like, there's no way.
Like, whoa, how are we gonna do that?
It's only like if you
you'd have to know.
Paintbrush, you have
Yeah.
I just knew like there is no way.
Have you tried?
I have a question for you though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Polo Copies. That was pretty cool. I remember seeing that and I was like, how do you get that? The packaging and everything was so pretty rad.
Yeah, what I did was I just took a real Polaroid box. I mean, I did a full tutorial and released it. It's on the channel.
I think I remember it vaguely. You put like that scratch off over the image, right? The scratch
Yeah,
off.
yeah. So what I did for those, and for those listening, who don't know what he's talking about is, I released as an attempt or try to like do this like trade back system for the channel, because I spent a lot of money on just film on this channel to make these videos.
I feel you on that one.
Like a lot. And so, and also I'm not like, I'm not just like, oh, I'm using those photos for just my general purposes, like general photos that I would just be normally shooting. That's not the case. A lot of times I'm shooting the same thing like 4 or 5 different times to do comparisons. So it's like strictly for like testing stuff. So almost throwaway photos, and not really throwaway, but like something I probably wouldn't have shot as many times as I did, or even at all. But the idea behind Polo Copies was to attempt a way for you, I could like sell a product and that money went to replace the film, but you bought the photos. You could get the copies of the photos that I was shooting, like the good ones, not like the test ones. And so each box came with 8 photos, 8 copies, and I had scratch to develop technology in there. And so you would get your 8 photos, and they were completely random, except there weren't going to be doubles in each pack. You would get a brand new set. And then we get a little checklist, and then try to make like, you could get like buy multiples to complete the sets, like a trading card aspect of it. But it came inside an empty empty cartridge of Polaroid film, and the photos were like kind of like lottery ticket scratchers, and you could scratch off and then reveal your photo, and it was really cool. And I literally made a custom box just like a Polaroid box. That's what you were asking about. And so to look back to that, the boxes were, and I did a tutorial on how I did it, but the boxes were simply, I just took a regular Polaroid box, scanned it into my computer, and then just stole like their template of how that box like folded, and then just printed them onto 11 by 17, almost cardstock, not quite full cardstock. Cut them out, and then just scored the lines and folded the boxes. Everything was done by hand, and it was a tedious process. And I made, I think, 20 or so packs, 20 packs, I think. It took forever to make those. And I only ended up selling like 6 of them right away, like at the relaunch, I think it was. And then I think I sold a few of them over the course of like 6 or 7 months. And I never ended up selling out. I think I have like 1 or 2 of them still laying around. I think. I kept one just for me to have for reference. But,
no, it was really cool. I thought it was a really cool idea when I seen it. I was like
yeah, I want to return to it, at least get another round, but I would do it differently. I kind of just shelved that whole idea too, which it reminded me I should probably go back to it. But what I would do next time is probably not do the box, not do the package, like the cartridge. I would just do, or find a print shop to print them front and back, because I also wanted to have the information on the back of the photo to talk about the photo. And the back of the photo would be just the scan of a back of a Polaroid. So it looked like you were literally holding a Polaroid photo in your hand.
That's pretty cool.
But they would just be, copies. And then on the back would just be like written out, like probably by like handwritten, so it looks like, it's like you're writing on the Polaroid, and like information about the photo. And then I wanted to do like variants and like contact like other instant photographer, like YouTube creators or just photography creators, ask them, hey, do you mind shooting like, I don't know, just 1 pack of photos, the 8 photos, and then send them to me. I'll scan them in, do the work, and then I'll print them out. And like, let's say there's 20 of each, and then send them to them and have them autograph them, and then send them back to me. And then I would get them, and then I would get them packaged into kind of like a foil packaging, like a card system, like a trading card, but they'd be the size of Polaroids, and then you can open up and there'd be like chase cards mixed in from creators to get their autographs.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, like I really want to do that, like as random ones insert, or maybe just like one creator that round or something. I don't know, but I was having trouble finding people or companies to print something the exact size of a Polaroid photo. That was a struggle, because there was products I was working on, but I could not find companies to make some of the things I want in the size of Polaroid. I could get a little bit smaller, but pretty much everyone's just like trading cards. They're like, that's all they print. So it's something that's still on my radar. Hopefully I'll get back to, because I still think it's a cool idea to at least try once.
No, it's a really cool idea.
I was just saying, like, we thought about making, like, custom boxes for the cameras of the character, but it would have, like, Film Junkies in that font of the character.
Yeah.
We kind of sort of did one. We sort of did one. It'll be on, well, we'll post it tomorrow, which is Saturday. We did a Pizza Planet box.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty cool. So it was like a Pizza Planet Film Junkie.
Yeah.
It was a really cool box.
I guess I do have a collector bug in me, but like coming up with stuff like that, like boxes, custom things, limited things, because that's just art in itself, you know. Like I would include like your information, like make it custom to the camera, but like maybe it's on the back, have some photos of yourselves on there, a little blurb about who you are, you know, and then maybe even do like an artist edition or something where it's just like your own design of something, maybe like a graffiti one, like a graffiti one or something, and then like make like, I don't know, it's I'm just throwing it out there, but like do like 2 of them or 3 of them or something, and then like number them and then like sign them. It's your signature series, you know, and then like you have the cool box and, you know, and stuff like that. Like collectors eat that stuff up. And so I think that'd be really fun.
It's kind of like something we have in the works, like she said. Do you have any new projects in the works?
Do I have any new projects? Well, I've just been in the mode of moving and resetting up the studio and getting that going. I'm hoping to be able to get an official podcast set up here. So I have my table, and it's all like, for those video watchers, you'll be able to kind of sort of see this. I got my table here, and the way I'm going to hopefully rig this out is I'll have a camera on either side, so I'll be able to film on 3 of the sides of this table, possibly even 4 if I work it out right. But so I've been focused on kind of doing that, getting the studio going. But project wise, I'm still actually getting a masterclass created for instant photography. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but I was really close to being done. I was hoping to launch it in April, but that didn't happen. And then I was going to be doing my instant photography meetup in September, but that's not happening anymore either. So,
I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, so I'm probably still going to do it, but it might be in January, but I don't have my studio anymore. So I don't have the space. So I would have to maybe coordinate with like some hotel type of thing and do something there maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Since I lost the studio, I don't have the space to host anything. So those got kind of shelved for a little bit, but outside of that, I do have a zine. I technically already released it last year, but I didn't do it right. And I only put out like 10. So I was going to redo it and do a proper launch for this zine. It's an instant photography zine, so it's just Polaroid and Instax and stuff. Outside of that, I guess that's really it. I'm just making regular videos. I'll be down in California next week filming a Pokemon card convention. So for anyone that knows if anyone knows who Pat Flynn is, he has a YouTube channel called Deep Pocket Monster, and he's putting on this huge Pokemon card convention. He wants to be the biggest, and it's basically like San Diego Comic-Con but for Pokemon cards. And they're even having Guinness. They're having Guinness come out, Guinness World Records, because they're going to set a world record for most Pokemon cards opened at once by like group of people. So I think there could be like a couple hundred people opening Pokemon cards or something like that. So yeah, that's what I've got. That's all I've got going on.
It's going to be at the convention center over there at Anaheim?
Yeah, right across the street from Disneyland. So I fly in Wednesday. And I have pretty much the whole day Wednesday to myself. So I'm hoping to go to Disneyland at some point. Mostly just go to California Adventure. That's really all I want to go.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, if I could tell 10-year-old self that one day you'll be at a Pokemon card convention, filming it, working and getting paid a lot of money, I don't think he'd believe me.
Yeah.
Today's just been a fun day for us because we met the Pizza Planet guy, Marco, and then now we're doing the podcast with you. We're like, well, today's just really.
Yeah, we never thought we'd be here, like meeting you. Well, we always talk about this. Like we were always watching him like on our TV, and then we met him.
Yeah, it was just like, isn't that crazy?
And now we talk to him. Like that's so crazy to us that we were just.
It's so crazy to me.
Yeah, we've always been a fan. We watch your stuff all the time.
It's crazy, yeah.
I mean, I still think that way too. Like I said earlier, like, well, there's people like I've got to meet, I've got places I've got to go and do some certain things. It's like, oh, I'm just this person. Like, I mean, this person's like, wow, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you get like the starstruck sometimes when there's people that you.
That's how we work.
Like I get it like a little bit, but like I said before, like my friend Dave, like I watched him for like 10 years. And I was like, oh my God, this guy is like amazing. But like today I was on a 4-hour like phone call with him. It's like we talk to each other every day, all day long, pretty much. You know, like literally just the other day, he calls me and he's like, hey, where's Milwaukee, Oregon? And I'm like, oh, it's like 15 minutes from where I live. He's like, well, hey, would you mind brokering a car deal for me? So he literally sent me like a lot of money, just casually. Here's all this money, and then I went and bought this car for him.
It's like, well, it's crazy. Like you said, you used to watch him. Now you're over here like having a big amount of money buying a car.
No, and also like I had this really really surreal like moment when I was in California in March. I went out to dinner. I was kind of repaying a try to, but they wouldn't take the money, or not money, but like this offer. Like I wanted to buy dinner for this person that hooked me up with Disneyland entry. They gave me free entry to Disneyland because they worked there, and I was like, okay, I'm taking you out to dinner. I'm going to like at least do that, but they wouldn't take it. But I was sitting there at this dinner with 3 people, and I'm just sitting there like I had this like epiphany, or I don't know what you call it, but I'm like, each person like that's sitting here I met online pretty much because of my YouTube channel. Like if I didn't do this YouTube channel, these 3 people, one of them lived in Florida, one lived in San Francisco, one of them lived in LA there, and I'm just like, this is weird. And I live in Washington. I'm like, like these people got brought together because of a YouTube channel, because I don't know. Yeah. It was kind of a weird little thing. No other way I would have met these people if
that's exactly how we are. Yeah.
It's how we feel too. Yeah. It's crazy. To me, it's still crazy.
We're like, we just paint cameras. Like to us, it's just like it's cool that people love it. I mean, we really love it, but it's just crazy how many opportunities we get from this. You know, how many people we get to meet, and who knows how many more people we will meet.
Yeah.
Like you just never know who's like looking or watching. Like I've had some interesting things like happen, like where I had something I made and didn't get a lot of views or attraction. It was a dead thing from another YouTube channel, and about a year or so ago I get contacted saying they watched all of it, they loved it, we want to turn it into a TV show. Yeah, it's like, and it didn't happen. Like I was going to be the host and stuff. It was already being made. They were basically stealing the idea, but wanted to have me a part of it and like maybe host or produce the show type of thing. Didn't end up happening, unfortunately. But like, you go back and watch that stuff, it's terrible. It's my very first thing. It's gotten a couple hundred views. That's it. But yet, some Wired magazine like was hired a production team to create a TV show, and they found everything about it through this stuff that no one has seen in a long time. And it's trash. I think it's horrible, but you just never know who's watching and what can come from it, you know? And so you never know who's going to see your cameras and contact you, like, hey, I want one of these customers made. Like, Post Malone could reach out to you. I don't know, some random celebrity. Could just be like, these are so cool. I really want one of these cameras.
What a dream that would be.
You know?
Yeah.
You just never know. It only takes that one time, you know, where something comes through and
then bam, here comes the losses.
I mean, it could also be a curse too. Not a curse, but like a bad thing, because if you're not prepared sometimes, you know, for that attention just right away, that flood of things. So that could also be a bad thing at times, but
yeah, it was a little overwhelming when we got like 7 orders at one time. We were just trying to like.
Well, there was like a handful of people. It was maybe like 10 to 15 people that reached out to us, and out of all of those, only 7 actually made a custom. And even then, we were like, "Whoa, this is real!" Like, people are reaching out to us, and we were like, "Imagine this is 7 people. This is overwhelming right now. Imagine."
Yeah,
if
like what if it gets bigger? It's
yeah.
like, oh man.
So we slowly prepare for like, I guess, more accounts or more customs.
you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, sitting down, chatting, sharing a little bit about your stuff. I'll have to have you back on. Actually, I think I might have you on as a live guest during one of my live streams. That way people can ask you direct questions.
You're gonna make it more nerve-wracking.
I'm already like super jittery and like messing with my
I didn't even notice that we've been fidgeting a lot.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. I think people would love to be able to ask you some questions. I think that'd be really fun. Or maybe we can just get you in as a special guest during a live Zoom call that we do over in the Patreon in the Spitfire Club. It's a less people. It's a little more chill, a little less pressure. And maybe we'll start there and see where that goes. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you coming on and taking some time to chat about this.
Thank you for having us on, man. We appreciate everything you've done for us.
Anytime. Oh man, what a conversation. I just love those two. They are great people. They're also community driven, and I really wanted to highlight those types of individuals on my channel. So once I met them for the first time, I just really wanted to dive in a little bit more. Man, it's really, really great to see that you guys listening and watching these videos are reaching out to them and using their services or just buying their cameras. That is so cool. Thank you so much. Y'all rock. Really. People like them deserve a little bit more attention. So thank you guys so much for anyone that has been following them, supporting them, or if you guys are just finding out about them, what are you waiting for? Go check them out on Instagram. Maybe even reach out to them and get a custom camera made. I got a couple cameras laying around here that I'm not doing anything with. I'm probably just going to send them and have something cool made. I already have a couple of fun ideas. So yeah, I think it's a perfect time to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, because yes, this is an audio podcast as well as a video podcast. And if you want to see extended versions of this, head on over to the link in the description over to the Spitfire Club. You can watch an extended version, kind of more of a raw version of this conversation. And plus, it just supports the channel. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night or even your morning, whichever time you're listening to this or watching this. I'll see you in the next one. Now, get out there, make some art.